Let's talk about it with Matt Schlapp, who is former White House political director under President George W. Bush. David Mercer joins us, former DNC national finance director. David, let me start with you. 2.5 million Americans will lose their jobs, according to the nonpartisan CBO. We're talking about higher premiums, lost medications, lost coverage, lost doctors, lost hospitals, and a website that really isn't working well. Is it any wonder that Obamacare has kind of become a dirty word, especially among Democrats trying to run for re-election?
I don't think it's become a dirty word, and 3.5 to 4 million people think otherwise, and I think we're going to see those numbers go up, especially what you have going as an indicator, I think, and maybe your audience will agree, is now you have Republican governors who were naysayers to the Affordable Care Act in Arizona, in Ohio, in Utah, now beginning to implement the Affordable Care Act exchange, which is going to mean more people have access to enrolling, and you're going to see those enrollment numbers approach the 6 million to 7 million before March 31st. Right. So I think you're going to see it become a better and better word, and it's going to go word of mouth to others. Not a dirty word,
but a good word. All right, Matt, let me talk to you about that. Fair and balanced. You saw the numbers in my intro. Right. More Americans still want Congress to keep the law rather than repeal it. That's right. Doesn't that suggest to you that Republicans' efforts to get rid of this thing are simply misguided?
Well, there have been a lot of Republican efforts to eliminate Obamacare, but there have also been a lot of votes taken to improve it. There are some clear things that can be done to improve it. Republicans have proactive ideas, and they better explain them well to voters, because health care issues are front and center. And health care is one of the most dangerous issues for a politician to touch. And President Obama's biggest problem with Obamacare is he did it only with Democratic votes. And a lot of those Democrats who voted for it are fleeing Congress because the voters are infuriated over what's happening with this bill.
Yeah, David, I did a segment earlier today with John Potteretz. You probably saw his column in which he literally lays out the 12 Senate seats that are up for play. And it doesn't look good for Democrats. I mean, they are behind in a majority of those Senate races, and it looks like if the election were held today, that Democrats would lose the U.S. Senate. What do you think?
And if it were held today, we might not see a minority leader in Mitch McConnell, given that he's lower in the polls than Grimes, his Democratic opponent. So, look, Greg, I would say this. I would remind people of history, and the last two attempts by the GOP to secure the majority in the Senate have failed. Even when the demographics and the landscape favored them, they themselves had self-inflicted wounds that prevented them from even getting closer to the majority. And so I think it's a wait and see, and we got to get our ducks in a row on both sides. But I think the challenge is on the Republicans to try and get it, and I'm not sure they will, having failed the last two occasions.
Matt, is it wise for Republicans in the next 8 months to focus strictly on Obamacare? And then you got Ted Cruz, who's ripping up the Republican Party in the minds of many. How do you stay cohesive? How do you win?
Look, politics is about pulling together a coalition, and the Republican coalition is diverse. We've got moderates, we've got conservatives, we've got people from the rural areas, we've got people from the cities, and we got Ted Cruz, and we've got voters in Texas.
And primaries.
Ted Cruz is ripping up the Republican Party, according to many people in the party, and jeopardizing your ability to win the midterms. What do you think about that, Matt?
I think that's wrong. I think Ted Cruz speaks to an important constituency out there. I think there are a lot of Americans that view Obamacare as a huge threat to our economy and to their own lives. He's not hurting the party? I think he is divisive. I think there are a lot of people who he doesn't appeal to, but there are plenty of others, especially in this midterm. You look at the 47% of the people in that Kaiser Permanente poll you just talked about. Yeah. Those people are upset, and they are going to vote. And people like Ted Cruz are voicing their concerns. There are plenty of other people within the Republican Party that also voice those concerns. And I think we're going to do great in November because of it.
Gentlemen, good to see you. Matt Schlapp, David Mercer, good to see you both.
Good to see you, Greg.
Thanks so much.
Thanks, Greg.
Come back, please.
We will.